Judge Bernard Ngwepe has been appointed to chair an inquiry into Iran's participation in the recent BRICS naval exercise in Cape Town, despite President Cyril Ramaphosa's directive for the country not to take part. The United States has criticized Pretoria over Iran's involvement, citing its ongoing crackdown on anti-government protesters. The Department of Defense says the establishment of the board took longer than expected, but it will begin its work as soon as possible. SANDF spokesperson Siphiwe Dlamini joins me now. Good morning, and thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Let's just go into the inquiry itself. It includes a judge, as I've mentioned, Judge Bernard Ngwepe is among them. Recently connected to the Mbenenge Commission of Inquiry as well into Eastern Cape, Judge President Selby Mbenenge. That's just for reference for the public. But also it is been given 7 days to report. Will these findings be made public, I think, is one of the key questions that we want to find out about.
Good morning to you, Iman, and then good morning to your listeners. I think, for the record, the inquiry is conducted in view of the fact that there has been a lot of public interest in this matter, and it is important then, therefore, to make sure that once the report has been finalized by the board, the determination will then be made by the minister, who will share the report to the president, and they will then take a decision. But because of the nature of this matter, it is of public interest, and I assume that we will share the report with the South African public.
And hopefully we do, because it is a matter that's raised, as you've seen, so much speculation. It's caused a lot of tension, and will have some diplomatic implications for us, it would seem, if you bear in mind what the president had said. There might be things that you would be able to share with us this morning, so I want to get into those. A very simple question. Did the president issue a clear enough instruction that Iran not participate in the sea phase of the exercise Will for Peace? Yes or no?
Very clear. That's why in our statement we do indicate that, in the previous statement, we do indicate that the president issued a very clear instruction on what should happen in view of the participation of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So he did issue a very clear instruction.
Can you spell that instruction out for our audience who might not have seen that?
So the instruction basically mentions that due to the geopolitics of that we're in, it would be advisable that the Islamic Republic of Iran should not participate, and for various reasons, which I am not going to go into because that's not my space. But that clarity was made very, very upfront, that geopolitics that we're in are such that we need to also be very circumspect of how we do things.
Not participate at all, or just the one portion, the sea phase?
My understanding was that they would have been requested not to participate.
So the SANDF then goes ahead and lists an Iranian warship, and our understanding retrospectively is, in fact, 3 warships then joined the exercise. That statement was then deleted. So just tell us in hindsight what you've been able to establish about the exact nature of the participation that those Iranian vessels partook in.
That's a matter the board or the inquiry will determine. I would not want to run ahead before the inquiry, so I would leave it to the inquiry to make that determination, because that's the reason why they've been put together in any event.
Yeah. Siphiwe, I think, based on what you said at the outset, that the president's directive was unequivocal. It was incredibly clear. And we think, for the rest of us civilians, it might be easy to misunderstand. We don't operate in technical language. But for the highly sophisticated individuals at the SANDF, this is an instruction that's akin to a command, and it's coming from the commander-in-chief. Even if you can't speak to the specificity of the issue, the fact that the president's statement could have been misrepresented, ignored, misinterpreted, or just ultimately just, not obeyed. It's serious language. What in your mind are some of the obvious and initial implications for what happened?
Look, Ruran, the issue here is that there's been a lot of public speculation, both in the media and otherwise, and people have had their own interpretation of what could or may have happened. And the reason for the inquiry is to establish the facts, because we ourselves need to be in the clear and not speak to this issue as if we know everything. We would like to have an independent person or persons who will either confirm our belief or not confirm it. And therefore, this inquiry will then allay those fears because they are independent. They are not influenced by anybody else, but they are influenced by the facts that they'll be gathering on the ground. And therefore, it is important that we give space to the board or to the inquiry to do its work, and then we can take it up soon after their findings, and which will determine exactly what happened in that instance.
When you say confirm our belief or not confirm it, what do you mean?
I mean, whether the allegations of what transpired there, as reported by yourselves in the media and other interested parties, whether the instruction was ignored, whether the instruction was misrepresented, or whether the instruction was not carried out at all. That determination, in our view, should be made by an independent entity, which is the board, which is headed by the esteemed judges and the admiral.
Give us a sense this morning of who is likely to be called to testify.
Look, as I say, that determination is really up to the board itself. I'm going to repeat it. I wouldn't want to run ahead of the board of inquiry. They have their own way of doing things, and I don't want to influence or sound as if I'm influencing who should be called and who should not be called. That's a determination to be made by the board itself.
In general, the SANDF is a hierarchical system because you work with titles and there's a chain of command effectively. So typically then, in a matter like this, just generally speaking, who would be called to give an answer?
Once again, Imran, I'm not going to go into that detail. We are hierarchical, and that's the nature of any defense force. But as to who is going to be called, when and how, that determination, once again, must be left to the inquiry to do the determination. In as much as the other inquiries are going on, the one you quoted earlier in your introduction, I'm sorry, in your report. So we leave that to the inquiry itself, the chairperson and his members, to determine who they should call and give them space to do their work. Because what we're trying to do is to make sure that this process is as independent and transparent as possible. So when one jumps into decisions of this nature to say this one is going to be called, that one, I don't know. This will be determined by the inquiry, and we take it from the all. What one is looking forward to is the report. What does the report say?
Given the diplomatic and economic risks involved, of which I imagine you are all aware, especially around South Africa's relationships with the US in respect of just our diplomatic relationships, and also in terms of AGOA, what consequences can South Africans realistically expect if it is determined, and again, not to prejudge, if it is determined that presidential instructions were ignored? Are we talking about internal discipline, command changes, or is it just a question of lessons learned?
You're speculating. I don't want to speculate. Can we leave this matter to the board to determine and make their findings, hand over their findings to the minister who will share them with the president, and then make the determination of it in response to what you are asking me? I don't want to move ahead of the inquiry.
SANDF spokesperson Siphiwe Dlamini, thank you for your time this morning.